"Dad, I'm very sleepy. Can I take a nap?" "Just for a minute," Brian pleaded. It was 11:30 p.m., but Mr. Tan still urged his 9-year-old son to complete his homework. He acknowledged Brian's fatigue, but firmly refused his request. "My dear, wait another half an hour. After finishing this page, we can sleep. Shall we?" he said. Brian's condition made it impossible for him to continue working, but he persevered with his math assignment despite his sleepiness. When Mr. Tan went to the kitchen to pour milk for his son, he found that Brian had fallen asleep on the table. Mr. Tan gently carried Brian back to his bed so he could sleep well. When Brian woke up the next day at 6:30 a.m., he was still very drowsy. After missing a single night's sleep, Brian experienced reduced alertness, difficulty concentrating, slower reaction times, and impaired judgment. Now, after several days of sleep deprivation, his symptoms worsened, including increased appetite, extreme fatigue, and potential hallucinations. Furthermore, his perception of reality had become severely distorted. He went to school in a very bad mood. Brian was a very serious and intelligent boy. He always tried to excel in all his subjects and any activities he enjoyed. He also listened very attentively in all his classes, which made him popular due to his academic success. However, at home, he just wanted to be a normal boy. He just wanted to watch YouTube to relax and unwind after a long day of studying. But his parents insisted that he watch documentaries or CNA to increase his knowledge, believing that every moment should be an opportunity for learning. This insistence on educational content left Brian feeling isolated from his peers. While his classmates chatted excitedly about the latest YouTube trends and popular shows, Brian struggled to join in the conversation. He didn't know the shows they were watching or the memes they were sharing, which made it difficult for him to connect with them. The lack of common ground left him feeling out of place and unable to communicate effectively with his classmates, adding to his sense of loneliness and frustration. Moreover, these past few days, he could not concentrate on what the teacher was saying and kept yawning. He felt very tired and depressed. His parents gave him endless tasks. He was endlessly compared to other children, and all kinds of special classes were enforced on him without consulting him first. It put a lot of stress on Brian. He had to do homework every night until midnight, and he spent a lot of his time doing online schoolwork and special classes. He simply didn't have any time of his own. It was too depressing. Brian looked around his class and felt very uneasy. All his classmates looked very alert and were concentrating hard on the questions on the whiteboard, making him feel even worse. He tried to attempt the questions, but his mind was blank. Brian was feeling very worried, but did not dare to ask his teacher, as his teacher had also complained about his recent inattentiveness and restlessness in class. He initially wanted to skip his enrichment class for the day, but he knew that his parents would make him attend the class. Brian felt very miserable. He just wanted to rest and sleep for one day, but it was so hard as there were always endless homework assignments for him to complete. He envied his friends whose parents always encouraged them to do their best and took them to the nearby playground where he could hear their laughter, whereas his parents always demanded a lot from him. Even when he finished his homework or piano class, he could only go to the playground for half an hour every day. If his results were less satisfactory, they would make him do many homework assignments and test papers until he got 100% correct. So, he decided to go to the toilet to wash his face, hoping that the cold water would refresh him. But while walking, he felt that the whole class was watching him. He felt very strange, but immediately realized the reason. He was heading towards an imaginary door instead of the real door. Feeling embarrassed, he quickly bent down on his knees, pretending to pick something from the floor, and went to the correct door. Reaching the toilet, he quickly washed his face and decided to head back to class. Suddenly, he heard his classmates Zachary and Sam walking in. They did not like his popularity in school, so they used mocking voices to make fun of him for walking into the wall and his frequent scoldings from his teacher due to his recent inattentiveness. Brian felt very angry as he was already very self-conscious of the scoldings, and the delayed bedtime had made him very irritated. He went up to them in an aggressive manner. However, they continued laughing at him, imitating him walking into a wall, making the situation escalate. Brian was so angry that he started shouting at them. One of the boys went to a nearby sink and started splashing water at Brian, making his shirt wet and clammy. A nearby teacher, hearing the commotion, rushed in and separated the angry and fighting boys. None of the boys were injured as the teacher had intervened early. The teacher led them to the principal's office. The school counselor, Lisa, and the principal were there too. After knowing the details of the incident, the principal made the pupils apologize to one another. But Brian was made to stay with Lisa to talk about the door hallucinations. When everyone else had left, Brian broke down. He was so tired mentally and physically. I just can't take it anymore, Lisa. I'm so tired, but my parents keep pushing me. I don't know what to do, Brian said. It's important to communicate your feelings to your parents, Brian. They need to understand how you're feeling, Lisa replied. I had already told them many times that I am very tired and sleepy, but they still force me to complete my homework before I can sleep, Brian complained. Lisa listened to him quietly before asking him to relax and go to the sick bay to rest. After the exhausting talk, Brian felt so lightheaded that he slept immediately. Seeing him in a deep sleep, Lisa called Mrs. Tan and told her about the fighting incident and the things Brian had told her. Mrs. Tan was shocked as she did not expect Brian to initiate a fight and have a hallucination during class. Lisa explained that Brian's lack of rest and overscheduled life had made him impulsive and would hinder his ability to thrive in school. Lisa also explained that putting a lot of stress on Brian was not conducive to healthy growth, as he simply didn't have any time of his own. It was too depressing and not conducive to the healthy development of a child. Children who don't get enough sleep may exhibit hyperactivity, difficulty regulating emotions, and increased impulsivity. Lack of sleep, especially when extended over several days, can significantly impair cognitive function and perception of reality, leading to hallucinations. Faced with such heavy stress and schoolwork, can Brian be happy? Childhood is supposed to be carefree, but it was too difficult for Brian to face all of that to be happy and healthy. Mrs. Tan listened with a heavy heart. She anxiously called Mr. Tan, and both parents hurried to the school. Lisa and Miss Wong were waiting for them at the office. They approached and led them to the sick bay. On the way, Miss Wong shared her observations, noting that Brian had been unusually sleepy during classes and often ate alone during recess, not mingling much with his classmates. This behavior was a stark contrast to his usual sociable self, which made her concerned. Mr. and Mrs. Tan went inside the sick bay and saw Brian sleeping soundly on the bed. They could feel their hearts breaking. They had loved their son a lot, yet their competitiveness had hurt him. They had Brian at an old age and were high-paying professionals, so they tended to have high expectations and may be less flexible. Mr. and Mrs. Tan, not wanting to disturb Brian's sleep, sat beside him and waited patiently for him to wake up. They were very worried about Brian's hallucinations and the fighting incident. When Brian woke up after 2 hours, he felt much refreshed. This was the first time in so many days that he had rested so soundly. When he saw his parents, he was in shock. Mrs. Tan lightly explained that Lisa had called her and told her about the imaginary door and the fighting. She asked him nervously, "How do you feel now?" After a good rest, Brian felt very relaxed. He calmly told her that he felt better now and told them about his hallucinations, how he had difficulty concentrating these past few days, and in his impulsiveness, he had a fight with his classmates. He had expected his parents to scold him, but to his amazement, his parents apologized to him instead. They explained to him that they had wanted him to excel, but had pushed him over his limit and had hurt him instead. Brian accepted the apology calmly. "Mom, Dad, I really need more time to rest. I'm trying my best, but I'm just so tired," Brian said. "We understand, Brian. We're sorry for pushing you too hard. We'll make sure you get the rest you need," Mrs. Tan replied. Mrs. Tan then calmly told Brian that they had discussed between themselves and also decided to reduce his schedule, give him more rest time, and let him sleep at 9 p.m. daily. Brian was overjoyed and thanked them. He excitedly promised them he would continue to work hard and would not let his studies be affected. Now Brian feels much more relaxed at school and at home. His relationship with his parents has also improved, and he no longer suffers from sleep deprivation.